Hey folks, just thought I'd just do this late night video. As promised, I said I'd do a lesson on the piece of music I played previously, Lagrima by Francisco Tarrega. It's not really a very difficult piece to play, but I think it's quite difficult to get it to sound musical and emotional. So that's something that you can, or we can, look at later on if need be. But for the moment, I'm just going to show you the mechanics of this piece and how to play it. So the most important thing at the moment is to understand what the right hand is doing. So we're not going to worry about the left hand for a second, and we're just going to look at what we do with the right hand in the first initial few chords. So we need to use our thumb on the open D string. We're going to use our middle finger on the open E string and our index finger on the open B string. And first of all, we're going to basically pull the E string and the D string first, like this, and then we're going to use the index finger to pull the B string. Now this is played in what we call torando, which is free stroke, so you're plucking in towards the centre of the palm. You shouldn't be putting your hand away by this point. You should be plucking the fingers, or pulling the fingers and thumb, so the hand stays still and the fingers pull in towards the centre of the palm. Okay, so just practice this first before you start using your left hand. Okay, now with the left hand, we're basically going to start off by putting our first finger on the second fret on the D string, which forms the note E, and our forefinger on the fourth fret on the E string, which forms the note G sharp. Okay, and then we're going to use the technique that we just used a second ago with the right hand to play this first chord. Okay, the next chord, we're going to move our forefinger up one fret to the note A on the E string, 5th fret, and we're going to put our second finger on the 4th fret on the D string to play the note F sharp. Okay, and we're going to do the same technique with the right hand. Okay, then we're going to move up. Again, this time we're going to move the forefinger up 2 frets to the 7th fret to play the note B, and we're going to put our second finger to play the note G sharp on the 6th fret on the D string, again using the same technique with the right hand. Okay, now when you put this all together, it should flow, so obviously practice this slowly to start with, and then you can gradually get it up to tempo. So just try at this sort of speed. I'll play it slowly so that you can play along, hopefully. Okay. One thing it's worth mentioning as well, something to bear in mind, is specifically on classical guitars, but on most guitars, you get this squeaky string noise, which can be quite annoying when you're trying to do a really clean recording. So when you're sliding up the neck, obviously the nylon strings don't really make much noise. So, but the wired strings, the wound strings, sorry, tend to squeak a little bit if you leave the fingers pressed down on the string. So as you're playing these chords, you want to keep the forefinger attached, but not squashed down. Just loosely, lift off the finger, but it's still attached to the nylon string. And the first finger, just take it away from the string, but hover it over the D string so you're ready to play the next note. So you can see I'm lifting off the first finger, the forefinger's still attached to the E string but not pressing down, and then I'm placing my second finger down and then moving up again. This gives you a much cleaner sound. If you don't, then you're going to end up with this sound, which is obviously not as nice. Okay. Now the next part is basically we're going to be forming a chord called a B7 chord. Okay. Now if you don't know what this is, don't worry too much about that. But that's basically what the chord is called. But we're going to break it up into sections. So first of all, we're going to place our forefinger on the 2nd fret on the E string to form the note F sharp, and we're going to put our first finger on the D string to form a D sharp, Okay, so that's on the first fret on the D string, D sharp, second fret on the E string, F sharp. Okay, and we're going to place our third finger on the note A on the second fret on the G string, so that this is again forming part of this chord. We're going to use the same technique that we initially started with, which is thumb on the D, middle finger on the E, and our index finger to play the note B. But there's going to be a slight difference on this, so we're going to play this first. Okay. And then we're going to use our thumb to play the note A on the G string, back to index finger on the open B, okay, and then thumb, we're going to play the A string, but we're going to put our second finger on the second fret on the A string to form the note B, and then finish off on open B. So we end up with this sound. Okay, when we put the whole thing together, this is what we get. Now this needs to be played twice. This is played twice at the beginning of the piece, and then it moves into the next piece, which I will show you on the next video. But I'll just play this up to a reasonable tempo, and then I'll do it slowly once more. And then slowly. Okay. Thank you for watching. The next video will be to follow fairly shortly, and that will be going through the next part of this piece, Lagrima. Thank you.